Hi guys, in this lesson we will explore the fundamental concepts of data grouping with the help of the aggregate function in SQL. Grouping the data is a critical skill essential for organizing and analyzing information efficiently. By categorizing the data based on specific attributes or criteria, SQL enables us to extract valuable insights, perform aggregate calculations, and derive meaningful conclusions from it. So in this lesson we will cover the most common functions such as count, sum, average, mean, or max. So these are the functions that are used in 99% of our cases. So stay tuned and watch till the end of this video where we will explain them in practice and at the end solve the real world questions. Now let's try to explain them in practice. The first function is the count function, which is going to be explained. Okay, before explaining the count function, I will just select everything from the payment table, payment, right, and click on the run button here. And this query will select all the data from the payment table. Please pay attention that all of these data set have been uploaded to this URL, and I have pasted this URL in my description below. You can just go from that URL and upload this data set to your database. Okay, and the use of count function is below. We are just trying to type in the select count first. If I want to count the number of rows in each column, if we are just trying to type in the count and within the round scopes, I will add in the everything from payment, right? Payment will be with lowercase payment, and if I just click on the run button here, it will print out 16,049 rows. What does it actually mean? It just counts the number of rows in a result set or the number of not null values in a specific column. It just basically, if I just select everything from the payment table and go to the last row here, we could see that it would have already 16,000 rows, but I will not just scroll it down, but it's clear that it will just count the number of not null values in all columns if I just try to use it like this one, because if any of these columns contain the null values here but the other ones are not null values, it will again still count this row as a row here. But if I try to select count a specific column here like amount from payment, again from payment, right? If I select this, let's see if my payment table contain not null values. No, payment table already gives again it gives the same result as this one, because amount table contains no null values. It doesn't have null values, so it will just count all the rows from the amount column here. That's why it's used like that. But if I try to first select everything from the payment table here, right, and we could see it has this kind of column names, but if I try to select distinct amounts from this distinct amount rows, let's see that I want to try to select distinct amount from payment, right, from payment. And if I run this just query, it will just print out all the distinct values, right? But and if I try to count them up, count this amount column as a distinct column here, it will just count all the distinct values inside of that column. You could see the result is 19. So this is the meaning of the count aggregate function. But again, apart from the count function, we have what? We have the sum function, right? How do we use it? Sum function actually calculates the sum of values in a numeric column. Again, if I try to select select and adding the sum function to the amount column, amount from payment table, payment, and click on the run button here. It will just do what? Sum up all the values from the payment table here, regardless of the value will be distinct or not distinct. But if I add in the distinct keyword here, distinct, it will just sum up all the distinct values, but there are a couple of them. That's why the value will be less than the actual value here, right? Okay, let's add in both of these lines so that you can see it clearly here. The next function here is the average function. Average function calculates the average of values in numeric column. It basically sums up all the unique values and divide the sum of those numbers to the count of them. If I try to select, instead of the sum, I will type in the average inside of the amount for the amount column here and click on the run. The amount will be 4.2. It will just do what? It will just sum all of these amount values and divide them to the count of these values here, and so the average will be what? The 4.2, etc. right? We can even round this if we want, but we will cover them later in practical lessons. If I try to round it to the two numbers here and run it again, it will round up this value here. Okay, and the minimum function here, this will be the average, and the minimum function again works almost a minimum and maximum functions. Both will be explained here, and max. So how this function works, again the same. They are just printing out the minimum and the maximum values of this column here, max, and if I run it, it will print out the maximum value in the amount table. I can even add in the alias here as amount, right? Select this query. You could see the maximum value will be 11.99 and the minimum will be what? Minimum will be 0.0. okay, but oftentimes, almost every time, we need to use the auto column names here. But with these aggregated functions, you will not be able to do this unless we will add in the group by clause, which will be covered in the next section. What does it mean? If I try to, for example, here select, let's just try to run this one, and if I try to add in one column name here, let's see the columns here. Right, this one I want to add in the staff ID to this sum amount, or it doesn't matter the count. It does, all of these are aggregated functions. If I try to add in the one column name here, like staff ID, and run this query here, run it, it will print out the error and it say that it must appear in the group by clause or to be used in the aggregate function. Why we have this kind of error? Because the column name that you are going to add is not aggregated, and combining the non-aggregated column with lots of values with aggregated one does not make sense. So the query does not know what rows from this staff ID column you will want to print. But when you group it like this one, you are just adding what? Include into the group by the column name here, staff ID. But we will cover them in the next lesson, don't worry, and run it. It will do what? Just group these values for the staff ID and sum for these values, these numeric values for each grouped column here. You could see for staff ID 2, it has summed all the amount column values, and it has printed out 33,000, and for staff ID it has already summed it separately and printed out this result. But group Y will be explained in the next lesson. For now, all that you are going to learn is that you can't use additional column unless you will use the group by clause here. Okay, and now it's time for the questions. We will solve a practical question, and the next lesson we will cover the group by clause, which is very important to know in SQL. So the question is, retrieve the sum of the amount column from a database table named payment, where the payment date is earlier than February 1, 2020, and the amount is less than 4. Okay, now let's solve this question. To solve the question, we should do what? First, type in the select sum amount from what? From the payment table, right? From payment, and just run it, and it will just sum up all the table, right? Everything from this payment table. But before sum it, I will just add in everything from the payment table and meet the other criteria here. The first criteria is that the payment date, I will first give a condition like where payment date is what? Is earlier than February 1st. I will add in the less than February 1st, 2020, 0201, right? And adding the condition here, amount is less than 4, right? If I just select this query here, it will just print out everything according to our conditions. The payment then will be earlier than 2020 and February here, and the amount will be less than 4. And now I will do what? Adding the sum amount, because we want to sum the amount of this condition, and click on the run here, and it will just sum up everything according to these conditions, right? It will sort the database table, name payment, where the payment date is earlier than February 1st and the amount is less than 4. Okay, I can even add an alias here as what? Amount, and again run this query, and this is our result. For now, this lesson seems very easy, but in the future we will solve the complex queries. Don't worry about it. So subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day. Bye.